Hello and welcome back to Calshar Collectibles. Today we have a 44 card PSA return. Now, the English I sent, this was October, I did do a video on it, didn't do particularly well, especially the alt arts. Kind of half expected it with the centering on a lot of them, but we'll look at anything less than a 9 in this video just to figure out why. First up, we have the Arceus V from Brilliant Stars getting a 9, just due to centering, I think. A bit thicker on the bottom than it is the top. After that, we have the Charizard alt art, also getting the 9, unfortunately. Probably due to centering, or there is actually a little bit of light scuffing in the corner on the card. However, the regular full arts actually did pretty well. So we have 3 here so far. We have the Pikachu V from Brilliant Stars in a 10. I'll put that to one side so I can figure out how many 10s total. We have the Charizard V. Now, I do know the grades for all these, as I did ask to get them in advance. And the Raichu V in a 10. I do really like this artwork, actually. Next up, we have our first 8. It is the Ice Rider Calyrex. And looking back on the submission video, I know exactly why this got an 8. You might not be able to see it very clearly there until I zoom in. Right about here, there's red dots all over the card, like there's ink missing. So that's probably what caused it to get the 8. So that's the first 8. There's a few others, unfortunately. That I will probably try and sell as some form of misprint. I think it might be quite cool for a collector. This is the Galarian Rapidash getting a 9, unfortunately. Same again, front centering, left a lot bigger than right. Mewtwo V, centering again, getting the 9. I do really like this artwork and I do still think it is undervalued. This one would have been a big one in a 10. The Lugia V from Silver Tempest. This is shot up in price. It is just due to centering, unfortunately. Luckily, however, I should get more than what I paid for it raw when it first released. Now, it's not only 9s for all arts and lore. We do have this lovely artwork. I actually do really like this artwork of Regidrago from Silver Tempest Trainer Gallery in a 10. Some more Silver Tempest, but regular full art Vs here. We have the Lugia V in a PSA 10. These ones are more painful to get in 9s because they're less likely to sell. I'm probably going to have to sell them at grading cost, for example. But that one in a 10 might sell for 30, 40 quid. We shall see. Next up, we have another alt art 10, luckily. The Empoleon with the Phalanx and the Minshew in the background. PSA 10. Then we go on to the lowest grade in this submission, and it is this Entei V. And it got a 7. I am going to be cracking this, because I think it's a little bit unfair. I don't know if you'll be able to see very easily what I noticed on this card, which wasn't very much, but there is like a very faint print line here on the back. Anyway, it got a 7, probably going to crack it. However, the more expensive one, not the Suicune, but the Raikou, this is now about £120 in the 10, so that's quite nice. This got the 10, of course. Crown Zenith, sorry. The Galarian Gallery. Super nice looking card. And following on, another nice 10. The Zamazenta. Just a nice card overall. One of my favorites, especially in Japanese. Now, all these English cards are for sale. They're not my PC. I don't actually collect any English. Are for sale. This one, however, the Lumineon. Super nice. You kind of do get the same texture of the rings going out in English, but not quite as nice as Japanese. Getting the 9. Also, just due to centering, I believe. onto some Evolving Skies, and near enough every alt art got a 9. Just due to centering or slight corner issues. Espeon V and a 9. We are one of my favourites, unfortunately, getting the 9. However, a super nice one got a 10, and that is the Sylveon V in English. This card is pretty much flawless, to be honest. It probably would even have a shot at getting a black label, but lovely card in a PSA 10 will be sold as a PSA 10. Now, 9s are great for trade fodder as well, so hopefully I'll be able to do something with those or sell them at a percentage to one person. The Glaceon unfortunately got a 9. This one is just a bit bottom heavy. Then we have the Leafeon, also just a bit off center. It may also have a slight print line on there as well, getting the 9. The Full Arts got 10s, of course, though. So I did try to be very selective on the Full Arts I picked out. The Alt Arts not so much, because in a 9 I'm still making a bit of money there. But the Vaporeon V from Evolving Skies got the 10. The Jolteon also got the 10. Got a lovely Gyarados here in a 10. And moving on to some Vivid Voltage, the single card I sent, the Pikachu V. Now this was a little bit off center, so it was a little bit risky, but it did get the 10, so happy days for that one. Moving on to our next 8, our third last 8, I should say. Beedrill V. Now this is just really bottom heavy, as you can tell. And even on the back, it's probably just what knocked it down. I will probably crack this to sell raw, or just sell it for the raw price in the slab. Next up, we have the Sneasler. Unfortunately, the back centering is just a little bit too off to get the 10. This one would have been nice to get in a 10. Shout out to Hater. Dialga is a lovely card. I'm not entirely sure. It's probably just a bit too off center on the front and the back, top to bottom. Got the 9. This Lilligant also getting the 9, unfortunately. And the second last 8 of the submission, the last English 8. So if you remember my submission, you'll know that one of the cards I was hoping for a 9. It did get an 8, but you shall see it shortly. This one's just a little bit off center on the front. And it probably has a print line or something on the back. Let me just have a quick look. Maybe a little bit of light scuffing along this edge here. But that still will sell for raw price, hopefully. A nice one to get, though. And one that's increasing in value, the Origin Form Palkia. That got the PSA 10, so very nice. Next up from Astral Radiance, we have the Jirachi V Full Art, getting the 10. This one is probably more off-center than half of the ones that got 9s, but being a Full Art, at least it got a 10. Cannot complain. One I've actually pulled recently in a personal pack opening, a Celebi V from Fusion Strike. I've opened over 100 packs of Fusion Strike and only ever got Celebi V Alt Art, so it's an interesting one, but it did get the 10, which is nice. So we still have more 10s and 9s, just about. Greedent getting the 10, which is super nice. The only full art that didn't get a 10 was this, unfortunately, the Mew. Probably just a little bit off center or a slight print line on there. Probably the back centering, to be honest. The biggest card of the submission, unfortunately, did get a 9. And it probably is just due to centering, the Giratina V-Alt. However, this card, when I sent it, is probably the same price as a 10 then as a 9 is now, so I'm not too bothered. Probably one of my favourite alt arts from the Sword and Shield era, the Rotom. Just a bit top heavy to get the 10, unfortunately, so it got the 9. Oh, let's make sure I make my stacks the same. So actually only one more 10 English than 9s and 4 8s or lowers. So not terrible, not amazing, over a 50% ratio, but these do take it up. So we have a PSA 10 Mallow and Lana Pokemon card gym promo. I just sent this card because it's a super cool artwork. Tag team trainers with the stamp. It will be for sale. This one may not be for sale. I'm holding it for my friend Cirker on Instagram, which is S3RKER. He is a Superior collector. He has sent one himself, but if his does not get a 10, I will be selling this to him, which is super nice. And I actually bought this as a B+ condition on Torracamp, which is interesting because the card that got an 8 was an A-. Next up, this really nice Entei, quite cheap as well. It is hollow, which you might be able to see there. Getting the PSA 10th movie commemoration promo. Sticking along those themes, we also have a 10th movie commemoration promo of the Jirachi. And you can tell it's the 10th movie commemoration by the wee ticket in the bottom that says 10th. Next up, we have a Darkrai here, also getting the 10. This is from the 10th movie, but not the commemoration. So this would have come out slightly before, I believe. I believe they both came out in 2007, but I think this one was slightly before, if I'm not mistaken. This is a Diamond and Pearl promo, as opposed to the standalone 10th movie commemoration. And the last two cards, the one that got the 8, now this was an A- on Torracamp, so sometimes A- are worse than Bs, because the next card, which is actually the only card I'm keeping for my personal collection, was a B+. So this card was an A-. This is the 2010 World Championship promo. Did get the 8, unfortunately, mainly due to centering, and there is a very, very slight lip in the top left corner, which you may be able to see. You can kind of see it there. But a very nice card for someone to pick up. And last but certainly not least, my favourite card in the whole submission, and one I am keeping for my personal collection. Now, I did recently crack a BGS 9.5, which is at PSA right now. So if that gets a 10 also, I will have 2, because I like this card so much. It is the Pokemon Gym Meadow promo in PSA 10. Super, super nice card. With that lovely gold stamp on there as well. Bit of dust on the card, but very, very nice. And I'm super glad this got the 10, because at the end of the day, the reason I'm grading all these cards is to fund more cards for my personal collection. Same with anything I sell. If I'm selling it at a profit, that's going back into cards I personally want as well. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this 44 card return. I should have a large submission of at least 100 cards going out, probably at the end of March as well. So you should be seeing this video at the start of March, and hopefully at the start of April you'll have a nice submission video as well. I do have a lot of Japan mail days coming up as well, so I hope you look forward to that. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.